Howdy. I want to go over the doublespeak essay a little bit, particularly finding doublespeak topics. That's a challenge to this essay. If you find a good topic, your essay is going to fall into place. If you don't have a particularly good topic, your essay tends to kind of go off topic and you're not quite able to do what you need to be doing. When you look at the assignment sheet, one, you're going to get the definition of doublespeak. I went over that in the previous video for reflection number 6. Hopefully you've already done that before you're looking at this video. It'll make a lot more sense. But overall, you're going to write a 1,200 word essay. Hopefully word count's not panicking you at this point. It's not like, oh boy, 1,200 words, can't I write more? But it shouldn't be, oh my gosh, 1,200 words. You've been doing that all semester pretty much. You can choose APA or MLA formatting. It's up to you, but you got to choose one of them. Don't try and combine the two. If you're going into nursing and this is your last composition class, I strongly recommend APA format. That's what you're going to be using in your nursing program, and they kind of expect you to know how to do that when you walk in the door. So the more practice you get, the better. If you're going into humanities or this is your last composition class and you're not going into the medical field, you may want to, and you're more comfortable with MLA formatting, you can stick with MLA formatting. It's up to you. But with this essay, you got to start with a primary source. You're going to be the investigative reporter that's going to go in and show me the different types of doublespeak within a particular source. So what we mean by primary source is that if you want to do a speech by Obama and show his use of doublespeak, you need a transcript of that speech. I don't want to hear about other people talking about what Obama said. I want you to analyze the speech and show the doublespeak working within it. So you want to get the transcript of the speech. And most presidential speeches have transcripts from the White House. They publish those, which is kind of helpful. It's kind of neat. But you can go through and look at the euphemisms, the jargon, the weasel words, the inflated language, and hopefully start getting a good essay if that's the kind of topic you want to do. Advertisements are also good primary sources. If you see an advertisement on television for a particular drug, especially drugs, they work well for this essay. You're going to see those weasel words creeping in, those euphemisms. You can analyze the images. Right, when drugs start talking about the side effects, generally they start showing people playing with their puppies or having a great old time, and you're supposed to look at the people and not hear the side effects that they're talking about. Classic advertising trick. But you can start with that ad. Then if you need more information, you can go to the drug's website and see more euphemism, jargon, weasel words, inflated language there. But you want to have a good source that's going to give you different types of doublespeak so you can develop those into good paragraphs where you show how the weasel words work or the euphemisms work or whatever. One thing you will note on this assignment, if you go with APA format, I'll give you 5 bonus points. That's because there's more to APA format. You got to have the abstract page and all that stuff. So just a few bonus points if you're going to go that route, because you are doing a little extra work there. So when we talk about primary sources, you might pull from your own experience. If we have some veterans in the class, you might look at some of the stuff you've gotten from the military. One interesting thing I've had a couple of good essays on is military recruitment ads, where they show everybody, it's all, I don't know if it's always fun looking in the ads, but is what's going on in the advertisement for recruiting soldiers, what's the experienced soldiers actually have. I've had some good ones like that. Had a good one from a veteran who was struggling with the Veterans Affairs, trying to get certain medical procedures done, and he kind of analyzed the letters of rejection he got when they refused to provide the services. Kind of a disturbing one. I wanted to go to the Veterans Affairs and give him one of these, but made for a pretty good essay. Had a student this past semester go talk about the Kingsport City Schools student handbook. When schools advertise or put out images, they don't show students at 3 in the morning trying to write some doublespeak essay. Northeast State doesn't come to your house and show you angsting over some essay you got to write or some math problem you can't solve. They generally show happy successful students, right? But she went through the student handbook, and again, not all doublespeak has to be life and death, that good versus evil. Sometimes it's just, you're just saying, it's people aren't quite communicating particularly well. I'm not sure quite what they're saying. So, some people like the life and death type topics, other people maybe not so much. Got some good ones on employee handbooks, especially if you work for a major corporation. Sometimes the employee handbooks don't always match the reality of your jobs. And you can go through the handbook and analyze the images, show the euphemisms, show the jargon, the inflated language, the weasel words. You might be able to get a good essay out of that, but be careful. I don't want you to get fired if you are going to put this on journal portfolio. So, maybe a former employer's handbook. But this particular student looked at the student handbook. Kind of looked at the image here. Looks like a person turning into a tree or juggling or something. Not quite. She kind of analyzed what that might mean. She definitely looked at the two kids. They're happy, bright-eyed. Not somebody piecing together an essay at 4 in the morning. We got one here dressed up as Clark Kent. He has a Superman shirt under his white shirt there. And Superman, super kids, ready to get to work, right? And she kind of just went through and analyzed the images and what they were trying to portray there. She went on. There's a letter from the superintendent of schools, who I'm sure is a perfectly wonderful human being, and doing a great job at what he does. But we have a letter here, and we kind of noticed in this first paragraph some weasel words creeping in. Weasel words qualify whatever comes after them, so they're to avoid actually making a claim there, right? The faculty and staff of our schools are committed to. That's a weasel word. Whatever comes after, he can say whatever he wants after that. You notice that slogan, student focused, world class. Is that making a specific claim that you can apply to your own child? What does it mean to be student focused? Is that a particular thing? And how do you measure world class? And also the ellipses are a little odd there, but that's an English teacher problem. Every effort will be made to provide. Does that mean you're going to do that? Again, that's kind of these weaselly words that qualify what's coming after. And again, at Dr. Elsie's level, you got to be very careful about making specific claims, right? You don't want parents suing you because you said you were going to do something that you couldn't really actually promise. So the wording gets a little non-committal. We will also strive to, again, strive to is a weasel word. He can put whatever he wants after that and be okay. Then the next paragraph, get an odd shift to passive voice. Passive voice is when you take the person doing the action out of the sentence. So when you went home and your kids said the lamp broke, they're using passive voice. You got to push them to active voice by saying who broke the lamp, right? So here this handbook has been prepared by who? To be a guide regarding, that regarding is an odd word there, isn't it? It is important that both students and parents are informed. Again, move to passive voice. Academic and extracurricular opportunities, yada, 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 are included. The whole paragraph is in passive voice, so we're not sure who's doing the action. If you're going to do like a government publication, you might watch for this move to passive voice. It's still a good way to distance yourself from whatever happens. Again, Dr. Elsie's not engaged in some great battle of good versus evil here in this letter, but he's also not really making specific claims, which is it's language that seems to be saying something, but it's really not quite saying much. But again, at his level, he has to be careful about what he says. Then the student kind of went through and looked at some of the policies, found some euphemisms, jargon. We've already seen weasel words. We have to be careful how we refer to students, so we're not making parents mad, right? So we'll quite often use euphemisms in education to do that. Went through some inflated language as well, and kind of found all the different types of doublespeak and managed to get a pretty good essay. And again, our conclusion was, it's a pretty good school system. People try to get into it all the time, but this handbook is very carefully crafted to make sure they don't get into any legal trouble. And they're not always making specific claims. That's a good example of a primary source. He actually has the student handbook in hand, so to speak, or on screen, and it's looking directly at it and pulling her examples from it. And that's what you want to do. If you're going to use a speech from Clinton or Obama, or Trump or Bush, it's generally easier to find the doublespeak in someone you don't quite agree with. You can kind of hear the doublespeak and the qualifying words come out there. But you want to find that primary source and show how they're using doublespeak for whatever reason. And again, especially when a government agency screws up, that's a great place where you're going to start finding doublespeak. When somebody makes a mistake or gets into a little trouble or does something they're not supposed to, they're going to start using this language to shift blame, to distance themselves. Might make for a good essay for you. It's pretty normal to go through a couple of different possible topics. You might think, oh, I got a great one because they got to be using it here, and then you find out they're not saying anything, or they're not really using doublespeak that much. So don't get worrisome if you go through one or two possible sources and it doesn't quite work out. But if you do get stuck, let me know. I'm here to help. This is not an easy essay in terms of critical thinking. But I'll definitely show you a sample essay once we kind of get our topics going and show you how to construct that essay. But you're looking for something that, one, hopefully has some images, has good examples of euphemism, jargon, weasel words, inflated language, or gobbledygook. So sometimes you look at an ad and there's no copy there and there's no wording, and it's going to be an incredibly difficult task to write an essay on just one image, right? Be careful there. But we'll talk. That's all I got. We'll talk to you later. And again, if you get stuck, let me know. I'm here to help you. Bye-bye.